I'm glad you asked that, Chef. Nobody's really asking. On the ground, as a person who's...
The Fifth Amendment of the Constitution protects him from speaking. My name is David Bruno, and I'm with the former Morris County prosecutor, Bob Bianchi. We are partners at the Bianchi Law Group, located in Parsippany, New Jersey. We are both certified by the New Jersey Supreme Court as criminal trial attorneys. We lead a team of former prosecutors who aggressively fight for our clients in the domestic violence context, both representing plaintiffs and defendants. Bob, first I want to start with you. Tell us about our experience in the domestic violence context and what we know victims of domestic violence are experiencing right now.
Yeah, so this is a topic that's dear to my heart. When I was the county prosecutor, we have a domestic violence unit that actually prosecutes individuals who are found to have been in violation of temporary restraining orders and final restraining orders. And we understand very well because, you know, Dave, we both have done homicide work for a lot of our careers, prosecutors. And we often used to say, and unfortunately there's truth to this, that today's domestic violence is tomorrow's homicide. Now, it may not always be that dramatic. It is many times, but it can also be something that's a lot worse in terms of kidnapping, aggravated assault, sexual offenses, and things of that nature. We understand, too, the stigma that's associated with being a person who is a victim of domestic violence and coming forward, the economic consequences to it, because it could be reputational damage, and you don't want to air your dirty laundry, but yet you're involved in a relationship that is so abusive that you and your children could be vulnerable. So it was really great work that we used to do to protect those people that would come forward and indicate that they finally have had it. They've had enough, and for themselves and for the protection of their children and for the rest of their family, they're going to take action and come forward using the system, which is very user-friendly. Dave's going to talk about this in a little bit, in order to get those temporary restraining orders and final restraining orders so that you can at least have some peace of mind that you have court protection. So for those victims of domestic violence that are out there, especially during COVID-19, we were particularly concerned where the families would now be in closer proximity and victims would feel even more vulnerable under those circumstances and coming forward. But there are services out there for you. And this is why in one of our practice areas, representing people who are victims of domestic violence is something that we take very seriously, obviously, and we're very proud to do because these individuals need the help of the courts. Dave?
Yeah, the Domestic Violence Act in the state of New Jersey affords tremendous amount of protections for victims of domestic violence. And one of those protections is the use of the restraining order. It's a protective order that you can go and secure. And once a judge approves the protective order, then the defendant, the abuser, must not contact the plaintiff until a final restraining order hearing. And since leaving the prosecutor's office in 2013, this has been one of our specialties. I mean, we are criminal defense attorneys, but we are also in the family part handling these restraining order actions for both plaintiffs and defendants. But here, we are here to explain the protections to plaintiffs. We have this ebook that we have prepared for you if you are considering whether to apply or obtain a restraining order. And the ebook will go through the actual complaint that you will need to fill out at the police station or at the domestic violence unit in the county. It will go through each and every part and help. Because as a practitioner in these cases, I have found that the #1 key to success in the restraining order hearings is preparation and understanding what the court ultimately will have to decide.
Hey, Dave, can I just interrupt for a moment, please?
Yes.
Yeah. Dave, what Dave's point is about this ebook, and one of the reasons why we put this together, and thanks for mentioning that, Dave, is when you are forewarned, when you have knowledge, it's a less scarier process. So what we did with this ebook is do a step-by-step to walk you through so that you don't have to feel surprised, that you know what it is that you're going to do, which makes the environment so much less intimidating when you don't have that knowledge, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'll see from the ebook, and I'll just hit a couple highlights right here where we talk about how and what type of relationship is required to go get it, the restraining order. And our Domestic Violence Act requires a domestic violence relationship. which is defined as a spouse or former spouse. That's one. Any present or former household member. That's two. Someone with whom you have a child in common or expecting a child. That's three. Or someone you are in a dating relationship or had a dating relationship. That's four. So there's four possible criteria to meet with the relationship. And then the place to file could be where the alleged act of domestic violence occurred. One. Two, where the defendant resides. And three, where the plaintiff resides or is sheltered. So those are foundational questions that must be answered first as to the required relationship, the place to file, and then there must be an act of domestic violence that occurred. We call it a predicate act. And there is a list of predicate acts that apply here. And just some of the more popular, common predicate acts are harassment, assault, terroristic threats, stalking. All right, but there's a list there, and we go into detail in the ebook. So listen, if you are even on this page listening to us and you're considering it, you need to understand your rights. You need to understand the process, and if you're going to go and make that application, you need to be prepared because there's a number of things that the order is going to require, including what type of remedies you're asking for. Are you asking for the parenting time to be suspended? Are you asking for temporary support financially? Are you asking for the defendant to have a psychiatric evaluation? These are all things to consider before walking in the door. Bob?
Yeah, Dave, the ebook, I'm just curious. I know a lot of the substance of it, but are we going to actually have a court order in there so that people can see what these court orders look like? Because by looking at that, then you can see exactly what the court is going to go through in terms of what remedies and relief can be given.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, since being a major area of practice for us, I have come to find out that many don't understand the order itself. So what we have done for everybody is actually use the order as the fundamental document, breaking it down, and then providing some explanations in parts as to why those parts are important, what to consider, so that everybody is prepared. And like I said, the key to success, in my view, is preparation. So we appreciate everyone being on this page. We hope that you do download the ebook. And not only that, but we are here to answer your questions. We represent plaintiffs and defendants in these types of actions and will represent you if you need representation. Thank you for watching. We are former prosecutors who aggressively defend our clients in the domestic violence context, both plaintiffs and defendants. We are here and we have your back. Thank you.